Today, we will recap movie called Inside. It tells the story of a thief who breaks into a high-tech, opulent apartment in New York to steal an artwork, and then gets trapped inside and has to figure out how to survive. Sorry for the small pause. It took a lot of hard work to find the movies, make the script, and edit them. Little request, please show your support. The movie opens with a lavish, high-tech penthouse in New York City that is filled with art. One of the tall buildings can be heard being approached by a helicopter, and a man named Nemo is dropped off at the penthouse. Nemo gets assistance from his team's hacker to enter the penthouse. With just 7 minutes to pilfer everything he needs, he gets right to it and swipes 2 of Sheila's artwork. He takes a long look at a picture hanging on the wall before proceeding to the master bedroom, where he thinks Sheila's self-portrait is located. He does not, however, discover a self-portrait in the space. The video installation room is the next place he visits, but it is also empty of paintings. He hears on the radio that he has 4 minutes left, so he should grab whatever he can and leave. He radios one of his teammates to get the activation code before going to the smart home appliance by the door. After entering the code, a system malfunction causes an alarm to go off throughout the penthouse, trapping Nemo inside. He sends a radio message to his team, who are also in a panic because they can't get into the smart home's hub. When the team's hacker is unable to gain access to the smart home's hub once more, they choose to give up on Nemo. When Nemo messes around with the smart device, it breaks even more. Nemo, running out of options, chooses to destroy the speakers in the penthouse in order to silence the alarm first. When at last there is silence, he returns to the main door and begins to chip away at it. Concurrently, the temperature in the penthouse is rising due to the malfunctioning monitor. When Nemo discovers there's metal within, he gives up on his door chipping and presses against it in frustration. He opens the TV to watch while he searches for food and discovers that multiple locations throughout the building are under live video surveillance. He retires for the night to a room. When Nemo goes to investigate the sound of a helicopter the following day, he is let down to find it's not his contacts. On the balcony, he spots a wounded pigeon and watches it go to sleep. Nemo finds the heat intolerable as the temperature rises further. Taking in the view of the penthouse, he spots the square-shaped skylight. To build a tower he can climb to get to the skylight, he moves various pieces of furniture to the middle of the living room. He stops to wash his hands and discovers a miniature garden in the living room. When he removes the garden hose's cap and pulls it out of the ground, no water comes out. In order to cool down and relieve his thirst, Nemo consumes ice. He keeps erecting his tower in order to get to the skylight. He is sketching and making plans the following day on how to construct his tower without it collapsing. He's watching the live video surveillance on the TV when he gets sidetracked by what appears to be a cleaner eating near the fire escape stairs. He spends some time observing the girl before turning to the smart monitor. He tries to lower the temperature by clicking on it, but the monitor is broken, so nothing happens. He cuts his hand while going to the kitchen to open a can of food. To halt the bleeding, he puts his hand in the water and tears his shirt to wrap it around his hand. Then he heads to the refrigerator and begins rummaging through the freezer for ice. He spends some time with his head inside the freezer, while sobbing over his struggles to make ends meet in the tiny penthouse. He eats at night, staring at the dead pigeon beneath the balcony tree. When he does, it's in the kitchen, where Nemo is attempting to open a locked door the following day. He notices a variety of dog foods within. Then he runs to the garden hose as soon as he hears it sprinkling water on the ground. He takes a sip of water from it and lies down to enjoy the coolness of the water for a while. Subsequently, he secures his tower with the bed and chair straps. After completing his tower, he returns below to rest after briefly checking the skylight. Nemo has a slight obsession with the girl he named Jasmine, because he always watches the cleaner through the live video surveillance when he is sleeping. Every time he sees her, he is delighted, and he becomes upset when the room under video surveillance shifts. He once notices via the security camera feed that Jasmine is standing right outside the main door of the penthouse. He goes to the main door and begins to knock and yell for Jasmine to hear him, but she is wearing an earbud, so she doesn't see him. When he returns to check if the girl has left, he is shocked to discover that she has. The penthouse is cooling down, and the temperature is dropping, according to the broken monitor. Nemo senses this and unwinds while taking in the refreshing air. He appears unusually emotional when he views a photo of a group of people standing on an airplane. While he looks at it, when the hose opens again the following day, he places bowls in the garden to collect some water. He pours the water that has been saved in a bottle so that he can drink from it all day after the hose has finished filling the bowls. Nemo listens to music and does nothing but unwind. The following day, he constructs a temporary covering and begins breaking the frame of the skylight. He eventually takes a break and spends some time talking to himself while preparing some food he discovered in the kitchen pantry. He's been stalking Jasmine through the security camera, so he knows she's on vacation as well. So he's watching the video surveillance again while he eats. Once more, he finds her on the fire escape staircase, but this time she is dining with a different man. Before returning to smashing the skylight frame, he wonders who the guy is and waits until he spots a bolt. With a heavy breath of frustration, he starts to break the bolts. He uses the telescopes to watch people outside at night. His days spent alone in the penthouse, with no one to talk to and nothing to do but try to survive, give the impression that his mind has begun to fail. Nemo attempts to fix the monitor in order to regulate the temperature before the cold gets worse, because it is getting colder every day. He is disheartened to learn that his so-called friends will never assist him again when he discovers, to no avail, that his radio's battery is running low. When he opens his eyes the following day, he finds something strange on the wall. He makes a circle around the weird section of the wall and proceeds to unscrew the skylight frame's bolts. He goes back to watching Jasmine during his break. Later, he converses with a pigeon he spots on the balcony. He gives the pigeon instructions to inform his buddy Danny that Nemo is trapped in the penthouse so that Danny can assist him. With a laugh, Nemo yells at the pigeon as though it could hear him. Nemo also begins to rummage through the master bedroom closet and tamper with the penthouse owner's picture frame. He sees a green light peeking through the partition and through the closet wall while he is in there. After opening it, he moves through a narrow hallway. When he comes to the other side of the narrow hallway, he discovers the self-portrait he has been searching for. When he sees something that almost kills him with fear, he turns to survey the room and bolts through the narrow hallway. When he settles down, he returns to the hidden chamber with the words "The Unseen World" painted on the wall. He moves closer to the body that is laying in the center of the pitch-black room on a stone table-like bed. When he touches and squeezes it, he discovers it's just a dummy. Feeling angry that he was frightened by the dummy, he strikes it in the head and takes hold of the little box he discovered atop the corpse. Pushing the dummy off the bed that resembles a table, he opens the box and discovers it contains the compilation of Heaven and Hell's marriage. He makes the collage and the self-portrait, then exits the hidden chamber. He walks up to a painting and appears terrified as he studies it. He attempts to sketch and replicate the painting on the wall at night. Gazing upon the security footage, he observes Jasmine seated close to the main entrance of the penthouse. To get Jasmine's attention, he begins pounding on the door and shouting. He even makes an unsuccessful attempt to slide a piece of paper beneath the door. He then strikes the door once more, pleading with Jasmine to assist him and get him out of there. But even though she wasn't wearing earbuds this time, Jasmine was still unable to hear him. No matter how loud he made, no one could hear him inside the sealed, highly secure penthouse. Nemo was sleeping and dreaming that night. In his dream, he found himself in an art gallery. In his dream, he went up to speak with the penthouse owner. The man excused himself and approached Jasmine, whispering something in her ear as he saw her standing close by. Then the man got up to present the puppet. The owner of the penthouse began ranting about how people are merely puppets under the direction of invisible hands. Nemo left the art gallery, stepping away from the throng. When he reached the top of the stairs, the main door was finally open, revealing the penthouse. After awakening, Nemo strolled past an aquarium. The movie then showed Nemo going through his routine. He made a wooden wrench to remove the bolts from the skylight frame. He observed the fish, caught it, and let it die in the water. He drew an eye and a spiral around the wall. He animatedly talked to himself. He drew. He chopped the dead fish into pieces. He rocked on the chair. He ate the fish. And finally, he removed each bolt one by one. This illustrates how Nemo's mental state is failing, with him gradually losing himself and becoming more insane by the second. He was lying there one day, once more observing Jasmine via the security feed. Jasmine turned to face the camera, and Nemo forced himself to think that she was staring at him. After moving the miniature garden to the middle of the living room, Nemo gave the tree a shake to push it up against the skylight. He ate dog food and took a dump in the pool that he had already completely drained of water. One day, that night, Nemo sat in front of his drawings on the wall, muttering to himself while wearing an odd outfit. He was speaking to a painting on the wall in the following scene, telling it he was going to release it before shoving it down. Subsequently, he resumed his work on the skylight bolts. Before he tripped and fell down the tower of furniture, He managed to unscrew one bolt once more. He was sleeping that night when he watched stunning fireworks shoot across the sky. Then he turned to face Jasmine, who was standing there observing him. Before leaning forward to ghost her lips over Nemo's, Jasmine sat in front of him and stared at him silently for a while. Her hands also ghosted over his skin, hovering over it without making contact. Abruptly, Jasmine vanished, and Nemo reclined, fully aware that it was all a figment of his imagination. Nemo's leg was still broken from the fall, so the following day he hobbled in front of the mirror. He was tending to his lip wound when he had a hallucination of the owner of the penthouse hitting his head on the sink. Actually, all that happened was that he fell forward, struck his head on the sink, and lost consciousness as a result of the pain on his lips. His mouth and nose were covered in blood when he awoke. He noticed a sensor when he looked up at the ceiling and sat up. He used a magnifying glass to light the papers on a pan on fire when he noticed a ray of sunlight hitting his drawings on the wall. He made a torch and used it to activate the sensors. Nemo went to the main door and began screaming for help as water began to pour down inside the penthouse, thinking that someone else would hear him. However, it was ineffective since nobody understood. There was a penthouse where a smoke alarm went off. It only caused the penthouse to flood and the TV to break, so Nemo will never be able to watch Jasmine again. Seated on the balcony, Nemo was observed perusing the compilation of the marriage between heaven and hell. The picture showed the daughter and dog of the owner of the penthouse standing and observing Nemo. In front of the ritual location he established in front of his drawings, Nemo was singing. The ritual site is a small makeshift table with two paintings on either side that holds all the bolts that Nemo removed. In order for the owner to see Nemo's message for him when he arrives, Nemo wrote a message on the wall in front of the main door. Nemo wrote in his message that while art is ephemeral, music fades and cats, like his own, die. In an attempt to make up for his destruction of the penthouse, Nemo apologized and claimed to have saved 3 items from the wreckage. While the owner's penthouse may have been his home, Nemo saw it as a cage during the days he spent imprisoned there, fighting for his life until finally going insane. Nemo then hinted in his communication that perhaps Penthouse was supposed to be destroyed. Singing, Nemo ascended his tower once more. He was able to open it this time because all the bolts had already been taken out. The film's climactic scene features Nemo climbing on his tower and witnessing the destruction of the penthouse before he vanishes through the skylight. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.